And we welcome you into the Deputy Podcast, the official podcast of the Oconee County Sheriff's Office SC. I'm Corporal Jimmy Watt, and we are glad that you are with us today. And I'm honored to be joined by Captain Justin Ward, who is a captain over the E911 Communications Center. And we're going to talk about everything about our dispatch here at the Sheriff's Office, and also talk about a couple of special things, if you will, some special things that you can sign up for that certainly can help to make your experience, should you ever need someone from the Sheriff's Office or from County Fire and Rescue, perhaps go a little bit more smoothly, some safe things and technology and that sort. So we'll talk about that as well. Of course, here on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. We're all over social media as well, on Facebook and Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter. Also, the audio portion of this podcast, you can enjoy that as well on many podcast directories, including Apple Podcasts and also Spotify as well. And as I mentioned, I'm happy to be joined and honored to be joined by Captain Justin Ward, who is captain, as we said, over the E911 Communications Center. And Justin, you have had a long, I guess, career in law enforcement now. When I started here in 2013, you were part of criminal investigations and were an investigator at that time, and since then have moved on to some other roles as well. So kind of give us a little background, a little bit of history, how you got involved in law enforcement and kind of that career path, I guess, you've taken towards being captain over our dispatch here.
Sure. Well, law enforcement wasn't my plan to start with. I had other plans, did a lot of other things, went to Clemson University, graduated from there. I had a really good friend that worked here at the Sheriff's Office, and he said, "Hey, why don't you just come ride with me?" And I went and did a ride along with him, and that was all it took.
Right.
Once I did a ride along, I'm like, this is awesome. This is where I need to be. This is what I need to be doing. Took a little bit, but did get hired. And that's been 19 years ago. I started in 2006.
Right.
Started on the road, worked the road for a while, made it to road supervision. Was privileged enough to go into criminal investigations. Did that for a long time, 8 or 9 years, before I moved on. Went into training, was in training for a couple of years, moved on and got into judicial services, where I managed the courthouse, our civil and our warrants units, and then had the opportunity to take this job, and it's been really good. Been doing this about a little over 2 years now.
You mentioned you graduated from Clemson University, but your degree is not in criminal justice, is it?
No, my degree is in computer engineering, which is probably as far from criminal justice as you could be, but it gave me a lot of opportunities. I got the chance in investigations to work some internet with a division called the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force in South Carolina. That gave me a lot of opportunities to do that and put some people behind bars in ways that you normally wouldn't be able to.
Absolutely. And of course, using that degree downstairs in dispatch as well, and some things which we'll talk about in a second. But captain over E911 Communications, I don't know if you had like a job description for that. What does all that your job entails in that regard? Well,
there's a lot of things that my job really entails, and I'm sure, as you can imagine, a modern 911 center has a ton of technology in it.
Right.
And, my job in a nutshell is basically making sure we're able to receive the 911 calls. They're answered in a quick and efficient manner, and then we get the people to the help they need. Now, behind that is all the technology you have to have, the computers, the mapping, the actual 911 circuits, how they come into the building, and all those things are integrated and have to work smoothly on a daily basis.
That's absolutely right. We're going to talk about some of that technology today with a couple of things a little bit later on. One of those, of course, is Smart 911, but also some new technology that was, I guess, not necessarily made available to the Sheriff's Office, but new technology that we were able to partake of, and that's called Prepared Live. And we actually issued a news release about that almost 2 years ago. And we'll talk with Justin about that technology and how important it is. But I want to talk about the people behind dispatch a little bit, because according to our 2024 report, there are 22 full-time employees in dispatch. There's a part-time employee as well. There are also other deputies who are here, of course, that have certifications in dispatch, so you can bring those folks in and be able to use them if you need to. And there have been times when that has been necessary. But I always think about dispatchers as really the first responders, because when somebody calls in to the sheriff's office, the first person they're going to speak with is one of our dispatchers. And a dispatcher's role, and maybe this may be a little bit oversimplified, I don't know, is basically to take that information that comes in from that caller, get as much information as possible, and be able to relay that to the person they're dispatching, so that way that person who's responding to that call has a mental picture, I guess, or can paint the picture of what's going on the particular scene, and that could involve anything.
Yeah, absolutely. The dispatcher's main job is to get you the help you need as quickly and efficiently as possible. And we have to remember that they do it every day, but the people they're talking to on the phone, it may be the worst day they've ever had.
Right.
You know, it may be a mild emergency, or it could be the worst day they've ever had, and they might be upset. They might be screaming, and it's the dispatcher's job to remain calm the person down, get the information. You know, we need to know location first thing. We need to know where you are. We need to know what type of emergency you're having. We need to know how to get to you. We need callback number in case we get disconnected. All those things are very important, and it's that dispatcher's job to handle that, and not only handle that, but also be thinking, okay, they said this, I need to get police rolling, or they said this, I need to get fire rolling, or I need to get rescue, or we need to call the hospital and get an ambulance coming. Whatever the need is, they have to be able to be thinking about all that at once and make it happen.
Well, and that's an interesting part about this that we're going to discuss, because this is something that we've mentioned plenty of times in other forums, but our E911 Communications Center not only dispatches calls for service in relation to the Oconee County Sheriff's Office, but also for County Fire and Rescue as well, and for 4 of the 5 municipal police departments in the county, Westminster, Walhalla, West Union, and Salem. Obviously, our partners with Seneca have their own fire and police dispatch there. You mentioned about Prisma EMS. They also have their own dispatch as well. So we all work together really for that common goal of basically, as you said, getting people the help they need regardless of whatever circumstances they're in.
Correct. Yes. That's everybody on that team is working together to make sure, whether it's an ambulance you need, or it's fire, or it's rescue, or whatever law enforcement need, that we can get it there quickly.
How many dispatchers typically on a shift? I've seen normally about 4 to 5. Is that about right?
Yeah, so full staff we have 5. Obviously,
right.
Staffing has been in and out the last couple of years, so we're generally down at least 1 or 2. We have been down up to at least 4, which would be 1 per shift, but we're making steps and strides, and we're always looking for people that love dispatching.
Right.
That's
right.
our challenge, is to find trustworthy people that love dispatch, and those are the people that really want to be a professional telecommunicator. Those are the people we love to hire, because we can take them from knowing a little bit about it to take them through and teach them. And it takes months to learn the job. Honestly, it's they're looking at 6 computer screens at once. They're trying to run what we call CAD, which is a computer-aided dispatch program, or they're running a radio console, and they're also running a phone console, and they're trying to juggle all that. So it takes a while for people to learn. I laugh and joke around that our new hires on their first couple of days, I said, I know it feels like you're drinking from a fire hose, but just give it time, hang with us, and if it's something you truly love, we'll teach you. We'll get you there.
Absolutely.
And you'll be a good employee, so.
And of course, Lisa Willis, who's the chief dispatcher, has over 20 years of experience in dispatch. Many of the dispatchers down there, as you mentioned, think about Terry, of course, many years in dispatch as well. And so they not only get good training, which we'll talk about in a second, but they've got that experience there that can help them walk through, whatever they may be facing, especially as they're learning the job. But of course, doing the job is always the best way of learning. So I guess we can also give a little bit of a plug here, Justin. If somebody's watching the video today or listening on one of our podcast directories and they're interested and maybe applying for a dispatch job, OconeeSC.com is the website. Go there and you can apply there. And if that's something that you may have an interest in, and I think, I think an attention deputy can be hired at 18. A certified law enforcement officer, a deputy sheriff, has to be 21, but I think you can be as young as 18 and work in dispatch. Is that correct?
Yes, we do hire 18-year-olds, and some people want to come and learn dispatch because they want to be police officers, and that's fine. If you want to come learn that, and you'll dedicate the years to us before you become a police officer, have no problem with that. Some of our really good police officers were first dispatchers,
and that's another key part of this as well, is the fact that you have to be certified as a dispatcher, much like you do when you become a deputy sheriff, that class 1, that basic law enforcement, or advanced class 3, or class 2 being a detention deputy. But there's a telecommunicators certification that you have to get through the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy too. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. So once you get hired, we will do some initial training, and sometime within your first year of employment, we will send you to the academy. It's only a week. You go down there and you learn your basic telecommunicator and obtain that certification.
That's right. So, well, the county is growing. I don't think there's any question about that. I'm looking here at our official 2024 report. There are 20 Oconee County, according to the report, 20 Oconee County rural fire stations and emergency services, which include 8 rescue squads. Of course, obviously, you've got the Oconee County Sheriff's Office. We mentioned emergency services as well, County Fire and Rescue, but we also mentioned Westminster, Walhalla, West Union, and Salem police departments. And to give you an idea, looking at the 2024 statistics, and I hate reading statistics on camera, but I think this really gives you a perspective of the work that the dispatchers do. According to the 2024 stats, there were over 103,000 calls for services processed. 33,385 of those calls were emergency 911 calls. Over 113,000 were non-emergency. Total incoming calls into dispatch, according to this 2024 report, 228,866.
Right. So that's quite a large number of
It's
calls.
large. And then the one thing about it is, of course, as we said, the county is growing. That number is going to continue to grow.
Right.
Yeah.
And that number, the amount of phone calls is an easily trackable number, but what that doesn't track is the amount of radio traffic that they're handling. Because like you said, we're dispatching fire, we're dispatching for those other city PDs, we're dispatching for our sheriff's office, law enforcement. So if you and rescue, if you imagine all of that radio traffic going on at the same time as all the phones ringing, there's a lot going on. It stays busy. There aren't very many days when it's not busy down there.
Well, I was going to say that the dispatchers are the first responders. Also, dispatchers may be the best multitaskers in a law enforcement agency or anything, right?
100%. There's something they have to learn after they're a dispatcher, and it's called split ear, and it's being able to learn to basically listen to 2 things at once,
right,
and still function typing and the other things that they need to at once, and it requires a lot, but it's a really cool skill once they get it.
I think according also to the 2024 report, a couple of other stats as well, dispatchers, 7,698 hours on the telephone in 2024. But we talked about training, and just because you get hired, just like any position in public safety, just because you get hired, you get your certification through the academy, training continues. It doesn't stop. And in 2024, employees down in our dispatch completed approximately 2,457 total training hours. So you get hired, as we said, you get that certification. You're not done.
Right.
You're still training.
Yeah,
So,
no, the basic telecommunicator certification, it is what it is. It's a basic telecommunicator certification. And there's many places to go after that. They have to learn NCIC, and they have to learn a vast majority of things, right? How to dispatch fire, how to do all those things, because they all have a process and they all have a way that they need to be done, and it's it's constant learning for a while.
As we're talking about dispatch and interested in, maybe you're watching this and saying, hey, boy, I'm telecommunicator might be a career move that I want to make. Go to OconeeSC.com and apply for a job as a telecommunicator, a E911 dispatcher here at the Oconee County Sheriff's Office. You were talking about technology, and obviously even, you came on board in 2006, and it's amazing to see how technology has grown. A couple of years ago, and one thing Sheriff Crenshaw has always talked about, we're going to be proactive and take advantage of that available technology that's there. One of the things that I guess we debuted or brought on board a couple of years ago was Prepared Live, in which we get a call from someone needing assistance, and we can send them a link, and they can click on that link so the dispatcher can be able to see what's going on. What are the advantages of having that, being able to take advantage of that technology for the dispatcher in regards to Prepared Live, you think, Justin?
Yeah, so it gives our dispatchers another tool to help in locating individuals or whatever they might be doing. Prepared allows us to send a basically, like you said, it sends a text message to your cell phone. There's a link there. You can click on the link, and it allows us to request things like location. It allows us to request live video from your phone if there's a situation going on, it's just something that you really can't describe. Mm-hmm. It allows us to request live video to see what's happening. We typically use it a lot in fires or things like that, because a lot of the times when you have a structure fire, let's say you have a vehicle fire near a structure, right? When you have a vehicle fire, they're going to ask, is it near any structures? And they'll say, yeah, it's near a structure. Sometimes we'll put them on the link if they can't really describe that, so we can see, is this 5 foot from a structure? Is it 10 foot from a structure? Is it 30 feet from a structure? Is it gonna cause other problems? That's been a really cool thing to see Prepared do. Location has also been a really good thing. We have lakes in our county that people love to recreate on. Well, when you get out on a lake and you get in trouble, hey, I need some help.
Right.
They generally can't tell us where they are. They're like, I have no idea where I'm at. So we can put them on the link. We can find their location. We can get video. We can do live video, and they can show us where they are, so we can kind of tell the first responders, hey, they're here. The best way to get here is this ramp or this bridge or whatever the best entryway is. So.
Yeah, and I know that's also been used. You mentioned not only on lakes, but I know Prepared Live has been used, and we always see this as well, especially in the northern part of our county, where there's people who are hiking and they get lost, and if they can reach dispatch, then dispatch has been able to send them that link too.
Yes.
For someone who's hiking. And the great thing about Prepared Live, and this is one of the things we brought up when we issued the first release on this back in 2023, is that the person that receives the link doesn't have to click on, and they're not
Correct.
required to. And we don't take a look at any other information on their mobile device. We see that link, they give us permission. We can see the video, but we're not, checking pictures and videos and pulling other information from that phone. And then once that communication is basically cut off or stopped, that's it.
Correct.
There's no more.
Yeah, it does it through a web browser on their phone.
Right.
And once they close that web browser, we no longer receive anything from them. And it does not give us positive control of their phone or anything like that. They click the link, and it starts the video, or it shares the location, whichever they've decided to do. And once they close that, it's done, and we no longer receive anything from them.
How has in conversations maybe with the dispatchers, are they happy with that tool?
Yeah,
I mean, has it really helped them? So
I think anytime you can give them they have several tools at their disposal down there, but anytime you can give them a tool like that can really be useful, they appreciate that.
Let's talk a little bit about Smart 911. That's been something else that is another tool in the tool belt of a dispatcher as well, where somebody can go to the website, I think it's smart911.com, I believe, and they can fill out some information there. And I think the great thing about it is that if they're in Oconee County, of course, and sign up for it, when they call in, then that dispatcher is going to be able to see whatever information they have shared when they signed up. But I think the great thing about it is if they go to another jurisdiction and they're also a county or a city or whatever that uses Smart 911 as well. If they need help in that jurisdiction when they call, then the dispatcher down there is going to be able to see their information.
Yeah, so Smart 911, there's a link on our website. You can go to our website, and I think it's under Community Resources, a Smart 911 link. You can sign up for it. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And basically, you create a profile of you, and you're able to give law enforcement pertinent information, anything that you think we need to know. Let's say you have a special needs child that has certain needs, or just anything you can think of, you can put it in that profile, and then it's tied to your phone number. So when you call 911, it immediately comes up on the dispatcher's console, and it says, hey, they have a Smart 911 profile, and this is the pertinent information you need to know. So it's just an easy way, once you put that in there, to relay that information with dispatch so you don't have to do it again on the phone.
Right. And once you sign in, there's something else we want to emphasize as well about Smart 911 is that when you sign up for that service, you're going to have to basically kind of update your information or whatever within about a 90-day window from signing up. And that's going to be something consistently you're going to be able to do. And I know a lot of people might say that's a little bit aggravating. But once again, it gets back to the role of a dispatcher. The more the dispatcher knows when they issue that call for service, where they can kind of paint that picture for that city police officer, that deputy sheriff, that first responder, that firefighter, being able to even prepare live as well, the more that they can paint that picture so that public safety officer knows what they're getting into and what to prepare for. It's all about safety in a lot of ways, safe outcome of every call for service. That's what you're looking for besides getting the help, the folks, the help that they need.
Yeah, I believe the Smart 911 system will reach out to you every 90 days or so.
Right.
And they just want you to check the profile, make sure everything's still accurate, because we don't want to be getting stale information, right? If today this is the case, but then in a month from now it's not how that is, then that's not information we want to be getting. So that's why they make you update that profile, just to make things flow smoothly.
And I would imagine, of course, and also something else I just thought about as well, of course, is digital siren. We were the first agency in the world to sign up for that particular technology, in which people can download that information on their phone, or download the app on their phone rather. And if they're within a certain radius while they're in their vehicle, for example, and of course our deputies or road patrol officers and whatnot have those boxes in their vehicle, so they can, basically turn on that digital siren box. If they're within a certain radius, they'll be notified about a pursuit in the area. And of course, you can go and download digital siren, download the app, and get signed up for it there on your smart device as well. But one of the things that dispatchers also do, calls for service, and it's just amazing to hear what they do, especially in pursuits. And unfortunately, pursuits are a part of law enforcement. But being able to kind of relay that information in a pursuit to other deputies who are responding to, and also be able to take that information from the deputy involved in the pursuit. It kind of gets back to what you were talking about, being able to listen in both ears and be able to get that information.
Yeah, when an officer's involved in a pursuit, there's a lot that happens at once, and it's kind of fun to watch from the outside, standing in dispatch, watching how they manage that and keep up with not only the primary pursuing officer, but the other officers that are trying to assist, and looking at maps and trying to help them with directions if they don't know exactly where, and trying to help them with landmarks and things like that.
When you were an officer on the road, we may be kind of treading over the same ground a little bit, but when you were working, obviously, as part of uniform patrol or investigations, you couldn't do your job without a dispatcher.
No, absolutely not. They're your lifeline, and they take that very seriously, right? They want to know where you are at all times and what's going on, because they want to get you the most help possible, and they definitely are not going to lose track of anybody.
Absolutely.
They want to make sure they know everything, you're getting everything you need, and that everything is going the way you need it to.
Well, we've said it before in the program today that dispatchers are the first responders. When you call the Oconee County Sheriff's Office, call really any dispatch center, regardless of where you are, those men and women are going to be on the other side of that phone call, and they're going to take that information to make sure to get the proper personnel, proper resources to your call to assist you. I guess in closing, if there was one final question just from your years of experience, not only as a deputy on the road, but also over dispatch as well, when somebody calls into dispatch for a particular call for service, and obviously this may be dictated by what they need, what should they expect when that dispatcher answers the phone? What information should they be prepared to give?
Yeah, definitely the first thing you're going to get is Oconee County 911. What's the location of your emergency?
Right.
So they're trying to determine, do you have an emergency and where are you located at? Those are the first two things, because we can't send help to you if we don't know where you are.
Right.
So those are the first two things you're going to get. You definitely need to be prepared with an address if you know it, your name, a callback number. Those are very important things that you have to give, and then just as much information as you think is pertinent. We need to know, if vehicles are involved. We need to know as much as we can. If other people are involved, descriptions of people, all those things play into being able to solve your issue as quickly as we can.
And of course, I lied. There's also one additional question I was wanting to ask Justin as well. The biggest tool, I guess, in communication between a law enforcement officer, a firefighter, paramedic, first responder with dispatch is going to be that radio, whether it's a handheld radio or one that's installed in their vehicle. And part of your job, of course, is making sure that those radio communications are transmitted as smoothly as possible, and that officer or that first responder is going to be able to reach dispatch.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a very mature radio system here with lots of sites, and we do pretty well with radio communications.
Absolutely. Well, Captain Justin Ward has been our guest on this edition of the Deputy Podcast, the official podcast of the Oconee County Sheriff's Office SC. Justin, thank you so much. 19 years, I guess we could say 19 years plus in law enforcement in some way, shape, or form. But Justin has had a great career and is doing a great job as captain over our E911 Communications Center. Of course, once again, if you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe to our channel. Make sure to go to our social media sites as well. Plenty of information there. OconeeLaw.com is our website. Good information and links there as well. And of course, our non-emergency line at the Sheriff's Office for non-emergency phone calls is 864-638-4111. But if it is an emergency, pick up that phone and call 911, and one of Justin's folks, there'll be a great man or great woman on the other end of that line that'll take your call and get you the help that you need. This has been this edition of the Deputy Podcast, the official podcast of the Oconee County Sheriff's Office SC.